Hey guys, it's Justin. Welcome back to part 3 of my reviews on the Beach Boys solo albums. And we're here to finish up with Brian Wilson albums. I know these are not all of his solo albums, these are just the ones I have on vinyl. But I wanted to point out, I don't think I pointed this out in one of my last updates about Rock and Roll City, that I do have this. This is the tape. And now that I'm thinking of it, I actually kind of think I might have mentioned this in something recently. I can't remember. Gosh darn. Darn my memory. Well, anyway, it's basically, as you can see, for Radio Shack. It's basically the, Rock and Roll Again album, I believe. But with the California Dreamin' on there from the Beach Boys in the 80s. And moving on, I forgot to include, since we're talking about Beach Boy, Brian Wilson 88, I just recently, a couple weeks ago, got the Wilson Project from a friend by Stephen J. McFarland. I've been wanting to read this for a really long time. Seems very, very interesting. And very detailed. I'm only like on the first 20 pages. Tells a very different story than what the Wouldn't Be Nice My Own story tells. Some very cool details. Some of the pages are, I believe, the legal documents about Dr. Landy and stuff that he had done illegally with Brian and with other patients. It was actually a list of drugs that he had prescribed Brian at different occasions. I believe so. I've not been to that part, so I'm not exactly sure. So it's very cool, though. Got some copies of articles and letters from Gary Usher. If you're very interested in the Gary Usher sessions from the mid 80s, this is it. You need to get your hands on this. I believe this re-released has like a dark blue cover with some other like purple on it. I think you can get that on Amazon. I want to say there's actually additional material on it, and I need to get my hands on it. So anyway, finishing up Brian Wilson 88. Totally enjoyed this album. I think it was one of the first solo albums I ever got, the re-release that came out in 2000. Some very good stuff on this, and Brian working with the guys again, kind of with the session crew, just seeing that Larry Williams, he looks familiar. Maybe I'm not right. Maybe this isn't people from Wrecking Crew at all. I'm a moron. Sorry. Let's just scratch what I just said. But anyway, special thanks to the Beach Boys and Seth Riggs, John Lodge. I really don't know any of these people. I think Lindsey Buckingham is the only person I know. And there's some very other odd thank yous here. Of course, Tom Hewitt, who was the guy's manager, but like Alexander Morgan, that these were people who were part of Landy's crew, and it's just very odd to hear that they're getting credits on here. It's very weird. Seymour Stein, who was the head of WB Records, I think. Or was that Lenny Warnocker? Who's right after that? I don't know. Russ Titleman wrote "Guess I'm Dumb" with Brian, and he also did. What did he do? "Walking the Line"? I can't remember. Andy Paley makes his first appearance on here. He did "Rio Grande," "Me and My Dreams Tonight." Went on to do "Where's Love Been" on the Imagination album. Some different songs on "Getting In Them Over My Head," and the Paley Sessions. Oh, and don't forget this song Wants to Sleep With You Tonight from I Just Wasn't Made for These Times single. And everybody's favorite Brian Wilson solo album, Gettin' In Over My Head. That was not the tune of it at all. Anyway, I had this cover on my background on my computer for a long time, and some friends were like, "Did you make that?" And, well, that's a great compliment. No, I didn't. And I don't know if that's saying that's an amateur making of this cover, but I believe it was by Peter, not Peter Buck, Peter, I can't see what the last name is on this, Peter Blake, because he did some of the Beatles stuff. I can't remember offhand what it is. I think this is a pretty cool cover. It's some funky cutout, copy and paste stuff, but I'm alright with that. And I wanted to point out Brian on Desert Drive here. There's kind of an illustration for each song. There's Brian on that, and I wanted to point out, hey, Brian on the same exact, that's the one from the Beach Boys Tale A&E biography video, which one of the first things I ever got of Brian Wilson's. I'm not doing a complete review on this, but I will say this is a great bio, and kind of not mentioned as much of the Beach Boys video DVD collection. And actually, I don't think this is on DVD, which it needs to be. And I do like the cover to this. There's the guy singing at the Smile concerts, I want to say, maybe. Or just, I feel like that's the acoustic set. I like the rainbow eyes. It's pretty cool. You got his adopted daughters for Don't Let Her Know She's an Angel. And then you got a young Brian on the waltz. And then Make a Wish with the star. City Blues playing that bass. Getting In Over My Head, and You've Touched Me, and You've Touched Me's got him and Melinda. And it's just really, I don't know, it's kind of cool. So, show you real quick, the vinyl itself is orange, which I think is pretty flippin' cool. That's what the CD looks like, actually. And that's the cover of the CD itself, physical CD. And then on the back here you've got, this is a double LP, so here's side A and B. You only have 3 to 4 songs on each side. Excuse me. Moving on to Brian Wilson Presents Smile. And speaking of colored vinyl, we have the green vinyl, which I did show on the my Smile pre-box set review. So if you've seen that, you've seen this stuff. So I'm not really going to take a whole lot of time with this. But I believe this came out in blue vinyl and maybe red. And this is, let me see, okay, side 4 I kind of wanted to point out. Had the instrumentals to Heroes and Villains, Cabin Essence, On Holiday, and Wind Chimes. So that's kind of the bonus of getting the LP itself. It's 2 LPs and 4 sides, so kind of just like the Beach Boys Smile that came out in the Smile sessions. So if you've seen any of those opening box sets videos, you would have seen that. So there's side 3, which is the Elements side. So I've really shown most of that on there before, and I just noticed the other day the font and all this is red, white, and blue. Patriotic colors for what Brian and Van Dyke tried to make a patriotic album. In a time where the United States was looking low, and Britain was looking better and more legit and hip. So it's just something I just noticed. Love this gatefold. Love this gatefold. It's so cool with the lyrics, illustrations, the colors is just so bright and happy. I love it. It's so good. Then we have That Lucky Old Sun. This was the sticker on the wrapper. I've kept some of those over the years. Not the whole wrapper, but just the sticker. I think that's fun. Cool gatefold. You got the Capitol Records building there, and some very imagery of California. This album, I think this and Postcard from California would be the top two. If you're a Beach Boys fan and you haven't gotten the solo stuff, you need to get those two, because Owls is just very. It's got some of his own material, or obviously his own material for solo, but it's very close to Beach Boys, and it's got a lot of Brian on it. Don't Fight the Sea has Mike, Brian, Bruce, and Carl on it. Brian's on Honkin' Down the Highway and Drivin', I think. John Stamos plays bongos on California Dreamin'. Carl sings on the bonus track Waves of Love. Glenn Campbell's on there. It's really good. That Lucky Old Sun, the harmonies, the lyrics. Brian comes back home on That Lucky Old Sun after Smile. He rescued himself on Smile, Brian, of '04. But when he did the song cycle that was requested of him on That Lucky Old Sun, it's almost like his old self came back, and it's a great song cycle of narration, and based on a Gillespie Smith, That Lucky Old Sun lyric, and it really goes throughout his whole life. You have his Surfer Girl, Forever She'll Be My Surfer Girl. You have his love songs, Good Kind of Love, Morning Beat. A lot of it uses his old motifs and songs that he had recorded before, and we all know from bootlegs, like Morning Beat is part of Walkin', and some consider that lazy, but you know what? Walkin' didn't really release, so you got to give it to him that he used this stuff to his advantage. So it really covers a lot of